What's going on, guys? This is Seth Forge here, and today I'm back with another college football prediction matchup here on the YouTube channel. And this time I'm going to be talking about the Alabama Crimson Tide versus the Florida State Seminoles on August 30th of 2025. A lot of games are playing in August, which is kind of crazy to think about. A lot of these early games, Week 1 games, there's a lot of good games going to be played Week 1. So I'm excited for college football to start. It's crazy that we already like halfway through June already, and it's just like next thing you know, it's gonna be July, and then NCAA 26 is coming out. So I'm gonna be playing that video game soon. I can't wait. It's gonna be fun to watch or fun to play. And so this game is gonna be very interesting because there's a lot of new faces, a lot of players left to draft, a lot of new a lot of new faces, a lot of players into transfer portal. So it'll be very interesting to see how both teams will match up for this upcoming season. Maybe both teams' head coaches are kind of on a hot seat, with Mike Norvell for Florida State, for Kellen DeBoer for Alabama, because you know how Alabama is. They want to make 10-plus wins at SEC championships, and of course, national championships every single year. It's either boom or bust for them. So, all right, let's go ahead and go through the slideshows. As you guys know, that I like to do slideshows for every single college football video. So if I got stuff wrong, take it with a grain of salt. Always comment down below what I missed and what I need to make sure to have next time I make a video like this as well. Okay, so last season, Alabama actually, for a season without Nick Saban, who retired just 2 years ago, it's crazy. They actually still had an okay season. They went 9-4, 5-3. They did lose to Michigan and Gerald Moore, first-year head coach, to the ReliaQuest Bowl, 19-13. So it was kind of like a down year, but it wasn't really a bad down year. I mean, they still went 9-4. Teams would die for that record, in my opinion. So I mean, they still had a good season. They had some games that they should have won, and they just collapsed because their defense was so bad. And so maybe Kellen DeBoer will actually do well his second term year head coach for the Alabama Crimson Tide. And of course, a 360 turnaround or 180 turnaround. The Florida State Seminoles went like 13-1 last year, and then this past season with DJ Uiagalelei, they went 2-10 and 1-7. It was by far one of the most embarrassing and like a disaster for Mike Norvell and for Florida State Seminoles. It was just a dumpster fire to watch. And because I don't know what happened with them. Like, they had a lot of guys in the transfer portal, had a good, solid recruiting class beforehand, and they lost like every game very close. And ever since then, it's just been a downfall. Ever since that snub from college football playoffs because Jordan Travis was hurt, and they did not put Florida State in the playoffs. But I mean, they probably would have lost either way. But still, it was kind of stupid the fact that they put Florida State in. And they took out Florida State, and I think they put like Georgia in or something like that. Anyways, let's go ahead and go to the last time, meaning the last time Alabama played Florida State, they won 24-7, which was 2017. I think that's the correct score, 24-7. And of course, Alabama leads 3-1 in this little mini series matchup. Both teams are pretty big time football programs, in my opinion. And so yeah, this is gonna be an interesting matchup to see once again. All right, coaches comparison. First-year head coach, not bad considering that Alabama just lost one of the greatest head coaches in the world, Nick Saban, to retirement. So 9-4 as a down year, not so bad. I know that a lot of people wanted Alabama. Alabama could have potentially been in the playoffs if it wasn't for some losses, but they just had a down year. Defense wasn't so great. Their offense was not bad, but Jalen Milroe, not, in my opinion, he's not that great of a quarterback. So I mean, he can throw, but sometimes he makes decisions that you like question, like, what are you doing? But anyways, Mike Norvell, I believe 5 years with Florida State, 33-27, not so bad, not so great. But last year was definitely not a great season. So hopefully both teams can bounce back from last year, from a okay season for Kellen DeBoer to a great season, and Mike Norvell to a bounce back year for a winning season, because last year was just sad. All right, so location, this will be at Doak Campbell Stadium, Florida, which is at FSU. Time will be at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I love it because I like games like this. So it's going to be exciting to watch, especially that's a good environment as well. Florida State has a very good student section or just a Florida, just a fan base in general. All right, so the players to the NFL. Alabama had 7 players drafted plus signed. We got Tyler Booker, Jahad Campbell, Jalen Milroe, Malachi Moore, Kay Robinson, Robbie Outs, Tim Smith. So there you have it for all the players for Alabama. Florida State, on the other hand, they only had 2 guys going, which is Zara Thomas and Joshua Farmer. Only 2 guys that were drafted last year, which is kind of crazy because they just didn't have a good season. But they still got guys going to the pros, which is good for them. All right, and now we go to the transfer portal. We got 23 players from Alabama going to the transfer portal. All these guys left after the season. We got wide receiver Kobe Prentice transferred to Baylor. We got Kano Cott, if I pronounced that name wrong, I'm sorry, transferred to Vanderbilt. Miles McKay transfers to North Carolina. DB Devontae Smith transferred to Notre Dame. We got Damon Payne Jr. transferred to Michigan. So 23 players lost in the portal. And then they got 9 players gained from the portal. We got defensive edge rusher Kelby Collins transfers from Florida. Defensive back Cameron Calhoun with transfers from Utah. Wide receiver Isaiah Horton transfers from Miami. Cam Dewberry transfers from Texas A&M. So they had 9 players gained, but 23 players lost. All right, so for Florida State, Florida State had 20 players lost into the portal, which is pretty significant as well with Alabama. Wide receiver Deuce Spann transfers to Pitt. Dante Anderson goes to FIU. Marvin Jones Jr. goes to Oklahoma. Sean Murphy goes to South Carolina. Patrick Payton goes to LSU. So there you have it for the players transferring out of Florida State. We got players transferring in to Florida State. We got wide receiver Gavin Blackwell. He's a solid guy. I'm a UNC fan, so I watched him a lot. He was pretty good as a wide receiver from North Carolina. We got Jairus Boatwright, transfers from USC. We got Tommy Castellanos, if I pronounce his last name. He's actually a solid quarterback, so that's going to be a plus for Mike Norvell. And so we got Deuce Robinson from USC. We got quarterback Jalen King transferred from East Tennessee State. So Florida State did get 16 players from the portal, so that's pretty good for them. They definitely needed some upgrades as well from the offense and the defense because last year they definitely needed to upgrade. All right, so the top 3 offensive players, also top 3 defensive players, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and on defense, defensive lineman, linebacker, and defensive back. So quarterback, as Ty Simpson for Alabama, will be the go-to guy after Milroe goes to the draft. He went 14 for 25, 56% with 167 passing yards, averaged about 6.7 per throw, 0 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. Didn't really play a lot because Milroe was the key starter. We got Jam Miller as a running back coming back, which is 145 carries, 668 rushing yards, and averaged about 4.6 yards per carry and had 7 touchdowns. Not a bad season last year, but usually Alabama is known for running backs, but this past 2 seasons, they haven't really been that good, in my opinion. A wide receiver, we got Isaiah Horton, a transfer. He had 56 receptions, 616 receiving yards, averaged about 11.0 per catch, and he had 5 touchdowns this year. Not too bad, who played for Miami last year. All right, so we got top 3 offensive players. We got Tommy Castellanos from transfer from Boston College. He actually had a solid year last year with 99 completions to 161 attempts with 61.5% completion percentage with 1,366 passing yards. Had 8.5 yards per throw, 18 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. Not bad. Boston College actually had a winning season last year, I think. So they actually had a solid year. And I think he got like benched or something, and then or something with with NIL, and then he transferred out or something like that. We got Rodell Williams, I believe, is going to be the starter running back for Florida State. He had 26 carries, 53 rushing yards, averaged about 2.0 per carry, and had 2 touchdowns. I think he's like a 6-year senior too, which is kind of crazy in my opinion. So we'll see. I may not know if that's the right guy who's going to be starting running back for Florida State. We got wide receiver Deuce Robinson, who most likely will be the go-to guy for Tommy Castellanos. or Castellanos. So he had 23 receptions, 396 receiving yards, averaged about 17.2 per catch, and had 5 touchdowns. So not bad at all. So some good players coming in for Florida State. So there you have it for the top 3. All right, so the top 3 defensive players, just like the top 3 offensive players, we got for Alabama, we got L.T. Orton, defensive lineman, 42 total tackles, 17 solo, 2 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, and 1 pass deflection. Then we got linebacker Deontay Lawson with 76 total tackles, 36 total tackles, 2 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, 1 interception, and 4 pass deflection. He really basically did it all. That's crazy. All right, so we got defensive back Damani Jackson. We got 51 total tackles, 27 solo, 1 forced fumble, and 2 interceptions. So pretty significant players coming back for Kalen DeBoer. So that'll be interesting to see for Alabama. All right, so next we got Florida State. We got Daryl Jackson, defensive lineman, 31 total tackles, 14 solo, 3.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and 1 pass deflection. So he had a solid year last year. Then we got linebacker transfer from Nebraska, I believe, Stephon Thompson with 27 total tackles, 7 solo, 1 forced fumble or 1 fumble recovery, 2 pass deflections from Nebraska. Then we got Shaheem Brown. He had 70 total tackles, 39 solo, 2 pass deflections. So pretty good players coming back from Florida State and also from Alabama. All right, so lastly, we're going to finish up with the team stats. Alabama still had an okay season with team stats. Their defense was not bad either. They just lost a lot of games, close games, late at the end of the year, mainly because their offense kind of choked there a little bit. Their defense kind of gave up at the end. So they had some games that they could have won and then end up fell short. So passing yards, they ranked 56 in the nation with 236.4. Rushing yards, not bad. They ranked 47, not great to the standards of Alabama, with 173.8. And of course, on offense, still pretty solid. Had 34.5 points per game, average or ranked 21st in the nation. And their defense was not bad either. They only allowed 17.4 points per game, which is ranked 10th in the nation. Not bad. Total yards on offense, they had 410.2 yards per game. Total on defense, this is where they pretty much bit the bullet with 320.1 yards per game. They allowed 182.2, almost 200 yards per game, and they allowed 137.8. So still not so bad, but they just lost a few key games like to Vanderbilt, which that was a crazy game to even think about. And then they lost to Oklahoma at the end against so that was kind of bad. Those 2 losses right there, they could have been in the college football playoffs last year. All right, so for Florida State, woo, they definitely had a horrible season last year. They ranked 116th in the nation with 180.3 because DJ Uiagalelei is so bad. He had rushing yards, 130th ranked in the nation, just awful, 89.9. So that's not so great. And they had points for per game, 15.6 on offense. That's for Florida State, which is just mind-boggling to see. They ranked 131st in the nation, and of course points against, they ranked 87th in the nation with 28 points allowed per game. So not so great last year. So hopefully they'll definitely rebound this year. They had averaged about 270.3 yards per game. Total yards on defense allowed 385 yards per game. Allowed 201.3 passing yards per game, and of course 184.7 rushing yards per game. Or allowed. All right, so my final prediction for this matchup. I know a lot of people think that Alabama or Florida State may not be so great this year, but could they win? Possibly. How well will Alabama do with Ty Simpson as the quarterback? How well as second-year Kalen DeBoer will going to do? We don't know. We don't know what this game is going to be. This is just a prediction video. This is not actually going to happen, but hey, it's just fun to predict. So I think that even though it's at Florida State, I still think that Alabama is still going to win. This is going to be like a high-scoring game, in my opinion, but I think Alabama is going to win by minus 14 points. The score is going to be 35-21. I think that Alabama's going to score late. It's going to be like 20. It's going to be like a one-score game all the way till the end, and then Alabama scores late to secure the win, to make it look like it's a 2-score game, but in reality, it's a very close game until the end. All right, guys, this is Seth Ford here. Hope you enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe. More videos on the way. I'm excited for college football season. I'm ready for it. I'm excited just because it's football season. I love football. That's my passion. That's the sport I love the most. I'm trying to do some more prediction videos before the season starts. So it's going to be interesting to see. All right, guys. Y'all have a great rest of the day. And happy Father's Day. And Seth Ford here. Y'all have a great rest of the evening. Peace.